Hello, everyone. This is part two of the Morant situation that just occurred today about his being caught again with a gun. And this is Stephen A. Smith and Jalen Rose reaction. Take a listen.
Not aware of the overwhelming story from the NBA as of last night. A video that appears to show Morant holding a gun began circulating on social media nearly 2 months after the Grizzlies star was suspended over a similar incident. The Instagram live video, which has since been deleted, shows Morant riding in the front seat of a car, holding what appears to be a gun in his left hand. It is not clear when that video was taken. This is the statement the Grizzlies released this morning. You see it there. We are aware of the social media video involving Morant. He is suspended from all team activities. Pending league review. We have no further comment at this time. Adrian Wojnarowski earlier this morning shared further information, including the possibility that Morant could be facing a lengthy suspension from the NBA after an investigation has been completed. We thought it appropriate that everybody would get to react to this once today. Stephen A.,
I'm interested in hearing.
It's really hard to put this into words, but I'm going to try. As you know, I'm a Knicks fan, and we've talked about R.J. Barrett. Between Zion Williamson's body and John Morant's stupidity, R.J. Barrett might end up being the best pick. You know, when you look at some of the things that has transpired, John Morant has already been suspended for 8 games, cost himself forfeited over $600,000. You know what the biggest issue here is? It's self-inflicted. It was his Instagram post that exposed the initial situation with him holding a gun that got him suspended.
Yep.
Now, with this latest video, it's somebody that he's with deciding to go on Instagram Live. This is not TMZ or somebody finding out something and digging it from. It's self-inflicted.
Yeah.
And I'm just imagining, because I remember speaking to Draymond Green on his podcast earlier this year, and one of the things he raved about when he talked about John Morant, he said John Morant is one of the most intelligent players in the game and one of the most intelligent athletes you will ever find. So if we want to eradicate the word stupidity, then we have to go to something deeper. There's got to be a problem here.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's with the company you keep or other things that you're doing that lead to you making these foolish, idiotic decisions, there is no question. There's a problem somewhere. There's a problem somewhere. And ultimately, it comes back to John Morant because he is not a child.
Right.
He is a young man. He knows better in regard. He's the one with a young child. He's the one with a family.
Right.
He's the one on the basketball court. He's the one that got to the extension kicking in this upcoming next year that starts that could begin a 5-year, potentially $231 million contract. He's the one with a signature shoe with Nike. He's the one with the Powerade contract. You got all of this stuff going on and everything's in jeopardy, and yet it's self-inflicted. To me, obviously, the NBA is likely going to step in. They're not going to leave it just up to the Memphis Grizzlies. They've got to make a statement here to protect their brand. I expect a double-digit game suspension, a lengthy suspension for John Morant to begin next season, and there isn't a single damn one of us that can say he doesn't deserve it based on this nonsense.
I'll remind everyone that after the previous incident, Jalen Rose had the opportunity to sit down with John Morant in the first interview that Morant did after meeting with the commissioner and all the rest of that. And so with that perspective in mind and the fact that you have had a chance to talk to him, Jalen, what were your thoughts when you saw that video now?
It's really unfortunate. And the one thing we learn as athletes, in particular those that are fortunate enough to make it to the professional ranks, is that we're required to be role models.
Right.
We're required to be eligible, and we're required to be role models. And that doesn't necessarily serve in other professions as entertainers, whether you're an artist or whether you're an actor. A lot of times this type of behavior is celebrated and or promoted. But when you're an athlete, it's punished. And for Ja to put himself in this situation just a short time after that scenario happened, I agree with Stephen A. This is going to be a 20-25 game suspension. It's unfortunate also for the organization because now it puts a damper going into next season. How well can you play if you're going to miss John Morant for so many games? But also I gotta also say this. He is 23. He just finished his 4th year in the league, and I'm personally just glad that social media didn't exist when I was in college or when I was in the league, because like I said before, I put myself in a lot of questionable positions and made a lot of poor decisions like we see him making right now. So I'm not going to talk about it like it's the end for him. I think there's still a future for him to still reclaim his decision making and put himself in position to not only be a role model, a parent, but also a productive NBA player. And that's what I'm counting on.
Michael.
And there you have it, guys. You hear from Stephen A. Smith, and you heard it from Jalen Rose. Yeah, it's just very disappointing to. It's very disappointing, to hear, that he allowed himself to get into that situation where he's being he's being recorded on Instagram Live again, when you would have thought he would have learned his lesson from the first time. So anyway, just thought I'd share the points from Stephen A. Smith and Jalen Rose, their take on it and their reaction to what just happened. And yeah, the NBA, they should come down hard on John Morant, because he needs to learn a lesson, and he needs to learn that his actions is affecting him and the team and everyone around him, and he needs to learn that you have to be a professional. At the end of the day, you have to be a professional. And for those who are for young athletes, young basketball players, or whatever sport, take this as a lesson that you got to conduct yourself. If you're a professional, if you play on any team sport, even if you're not a professional athlete, you have to conduct yourself as a professional. Period. And conduct yourself as a as a human being. Be careful who your surroundings are. Carry yourself as in a respectful manner, and watch who you hang around. And that's it. That's my take again. And well, you heard Stephen A. Smith and Jalen Rose take, and I'm just sharing what their thoughts.